What is going on, Pacer Nation? And welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice Pacers. Your guy, Cody, here. And guys, I made a post on the community tab earlier, a couple days ago by the time this gets released, but really wanted to do some more stuff with the Indiana Pacers and really start taking the helm in terms of content, cranking out consistent quality content. That's something that I really wanted to do a lot more. Obviously, our big thing has been the Indianapolis Colts for a while, and that's kind of what we built our channel brand on, but I really wanted to do more with the Indiana Pacers because there's a lot of fun things and interesting topics to dive into, and so I really want to dive into this, and now admittedly, it might take me a little bit of time to kind of figure out how I want to go about this Indiana Pacers channel, so definitely bear with me, but definitely want to do more from that standpoint. So guys, I wanted to kind of talk about this topic today because we're not too much longer into the regular season before the 2025-2026 NBA season does come to a close. And, it's interesting because right now when you kind of look, and when you look at the Indiana Pacers, they are now under 20 games to go in the 2025-2026 regular season. And as it stands right now, with the most recent loss for the Indiana Pacers at the hands of the Portland Trail Blazers, the Pacers sit right now with a record of 15-49 by the time this video comes out. The Pacers have just lost here as I'm recording. And the interesting thing now, when you kind of look at the tankathon, is the Pacers are tied for the worst record in the NBA. Actually, the Kings just won. They just beat the Bulls, which is kind of interesting. And so when you kind of look at the tankathon, overall, the Pacers are right there, man, with all these other teams. Right now, the Pacers and within a half a game here. Indiana has the same amount of wins as the Kings, but the Kings have one more loss than the Pacers do, and the Pacers now on a 9-game losing streak here as it sits right now. And the third best team, or the third worst team, I should say, is the Washington Wizards, who the Pacers have already lost to twice in a row a couple weeks ago. So right now, guys, the Indiana Pacers are looking pretty stinking good from a draft odds lottery standpoint. Now, obviously, there's a lot that can happen. We saw that, with the Cooper Flagg situation that happened. But in regards to the Indiana Pacers, they're pretty, unless something crazy happens, they have a really good chance here to secure, if not the number one pick, certainly a top 4 pick. And that's definitely interesting there, when they do, end up drawing the lottery here in May. If the Pacers end up with a top 3 pick of any kind, they're going to have their choice of really any of the top 3. And if you remember, also, even if they get the number 4 pick, the Indiana Pacers still keep that pick with the Zubac trade. It has to be, I believe, 5 through maybe 10 or something like that. I don't remember the exact details, but basically, if the Pacers end up with the top 4 pick, they're probably going to stay and pick somebody. If they end up with a later pick, which doesn't seem like that's likely, then they would trade that away, obviously. But yeah, right now, guys, all that to say, the Pacers have a really good chance here. The odds are very much in their favor to potentially be a top 3 picking team come June, which is definitely something that, is awesome, especially considering, like I said, the Pacers, acquired a player like Zubac. He's been out with an ankle injury, probably, if I'm guessing, not going to play the rest of the 2025 regular season, but we'll have to see on that. But obviously, the big one also, without Tyrese Halliburton for the season. So Tyrese will be coming back in 2026. And the potential also for the Indiana Pacers to have that top 3 pick as well. And so it's going to be really interesting to me, guys, to see how this does pan out. Obviously, we'll know a lot more after the lottery in May, kind of where the Pacers sit, and, potentially then start diving in more in depth to some of the prospects and things like that. But, say the Pacers do end up with a top 3 pick. There are 3 guys in particular that the Indiana Pacers would definitely I think we'll take one of these three guys, depending where they do end up, in terms of the draft lottery. Obviously, the first name is a guy that a lot of people have talked about. There's been a lot of hype around him. I think he's probably the fan favorite for a lot of people. That would be AJ Dibbenza, the wing from BYU, 6'9". He's got elite size. He's got elite athleticism. He's a guy that can do it all. He can score pretty much at any level, right? He can score. He's just the type of player that I think would give the Pacers something at that small forward position that, frankly, they haven't had probably since prime Paul George, honestly. So that is definitely exciting in that side of things, definitely, to have a player to that degree, because love Aaron Nesmith, but Aaron Nesmith's not going to be a superstar like AJ Dibbenza could be, right? And when I look at the Indiana Pacers and the positions that they need, I think small forward, that wing position, that is the clear-cut biggest need for this team moving into, the 2026 season. Obviously, center was that, but with the Zubac trade, that's no longer a thing. Obviously they have Tyrese coming back. They have, Andrew Nembhard, who has consistently been a really good player for them. Obviously they have Pascal Siakam as well, a superstar, all-star type of player. Again, another all-star performance this season from Pascal Siakam. And also, not to mention just the players they have coming off the bench as well, right? I mentioned, Aaron Nesmith coming off the bench, Obi Toppin coming off the bench, TJ McConnell coming off the bench, Jarris Walker coming off the bench, depending what they do with Jay Huff, potentially him coming off the bench. I mean, there's a ton of players. That's just a few, right? There's a ton of players for the Indiana Pacers here that make you feel really good, especially if they were able to land a player like Dibbenza, just with how that would fit into this Pacer offense. I mean, I think it'd be fantastic. I think that would give them truly players all across the board that can score, especially with their starters, having guys that are potential, guys you could say are superstar players in their own rights, right? In pretty much every single position on their offense, specifically, when you're looking at the five starters. So, yeah, I definitely think, guys, that would be a huge, probably the best fit to me with where the Pacers' needs are and what they're looking for. But the other two prospects also are really, really good. But like I said, when you kind of look at his fit and just what he could do, and just having another guy that can score. We know how much the Pacers offense is just electric out there, especially when you have the facilitator in Tyrese. You have Pascal doing his thing. Now you have Zubac, who's a huge threat, in the paint. So, I mean, there's a lot of things this Pacers team can do, and they can be very deadly. To add another elite scorer like that, I think would be insane. Even if he comes off the bench to start, which I don't know why he would. Like, he's going to contribute in a massive way immediately for this Pacer team, no matter what his role is to start out. So, yeah, I definitely think, guys, that would be the one that you definitely look at and say, man, he could do a little bit of everything. And he's not just a one-trick pony. He also definitely has the physical tools to be a really good defender as well. So, I don't think AJ Dibbenza is the clear-cut best fit for the Pacers, but there are two other players that also are going to, I think, be really good players in their own right that I want to talk about as well. The second player would be the guard from Kansas, Darren Peterson, 6'5". He is probably, when you're looking at it pound for pound, the best overall prospect in this draft from what people are saying. I mean, he's another guy that's just an incredible scorer. Just like Dibbenza, he can score at all three levels. He really is a player that, is very special from a scoring standpoint. And truly, if you think just about the possibility of pairing him with Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, that definitely should get you excited if you're a Pacer fan there. So Darren Peterson definitely would be a guy, and you pair him with Tyrese. I mean, just think about that backcourt, how incredible that would be for the Indiana Pacers to have a player like that. Yeah, you'd like to have a small forward, but man, the possibilities with having a player like Darren Peterson alongside Tyrese Halliburton and having Andrew Nembhard, that's some really, really abundance of riches at that guard position. So, yeah, I definitely think he would be a fantastic player to add to the Indiana Pacers. Like I said, just another elite scorer that the Pacers can certainly use there. And then the third player I want to talk about is the forward from Duke. That is Cameron Boozer. He's definitely a guy that, a little bit more of I would say, a player that can help you in the paint. He's an elite rebounder type of player. I think that he would be a player that maybe when you're looking to the future a little bit with Pascal Siakam, you could think, okay, this guy's going to be his eventual replacement at some point. But, I mean, in his own right, he's going to provide you a lot, certainly, from that standpoint as, a little bit more of that power forward type of player. Very, very good player as well. I definitely think he would be one that you look at and say, yeah, I think he could be a player that could really be helpful to you, in terms of your defense, your rebounding. We know how much the Pacers have struggled at rebounding at times. And obviously, having Zubac in there as well will help tremendously. But, Cameron Boozer wouldn't be a player that would start right away, but certainly I think would help you out off the bench and really give you another player that, can really help you from that side of things and could really become another guy that you could view as a long-term star for this team moving forward, especially because there's some young guys on this roster, and so could he be a part of that younger core for the next 5 to 10 years plus? So yeah, guys, that's really it. I mean, there's some other players you could talk about, but I think that's really the top three that a lot of people are looking at for the Indiana Pacers, and obviously we'd have to see which pick the Indiana Pacers do end up with. I mean, that's a big question mark, right? Like, which pick are they going to end up with? We're not going to know that till May, so we still got a little bit of time to figure that out and to kind of go from there. But what do you guys think? Who do you think would be the best fit here for the Indiana Pacers? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. So let me know that, guys. Really do appreciate you all for just listening. And, I was just kind of starting to think about, some topics. So if you have any other topics that you want to hear me talk about in regards to the Pacers, let me know. Drop those in the comments down below. But guys, that'll do it for this one. So let me know your thoughts again on which play you think fits the Pacers the best and all that good stuff. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. And as always, guys, go Pacers.